Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Laura Canfield Show, the Create Your Life video series. And today I'm so excited that we have Gosia Lorenz here with us. And she's going to be talking to us about how to create your life beyond mediocre to infinite possibilities. And we're going to be talking about entities and empowerment and so much more. And so I'm so excited because this is a conversation that I've been wanting to have with Gosia for a while now, because I had seen some of her videos on YouTube when I was looking up stuff about entities, because I had some questions. And so I found her videos. It's like, oh, she is good. She knows stuff. So for those of you who don't know Gosia, because I'll be honest, I didn't know Gosia very well before that. I had seen her name. We were in some sort of group a while back, like a few years ago. We were in some sort of Facebook group for marketing or something, I think. But I didn't really know her until I was watching those videos, and I was impressed. So Gosia, at a very early age, began her interest in holistic health, spirituality, metaphysics, dowsing, and personal empowerment. And she continued her search throughout high school and college, where she attended multiple courses and classes, like the Silva Method, Exercise-Free Perception, Reiki, dowsing, and many others, followed by her adventure with the Body Talk system, Theta Healing, Matrix Energetics, and EFT. She encountered Access Consciousness in 2010 and immediately started using its tools and processes that proved to be highly effective. And she became an Access Consciousness certified facilitator, body process facilitator, and Talk to the Entities facilitator, facilitating classes all over the world and teaching various hands-on techniques. She's a gifted healer, engaging speaker, as you'll see in a moment, and dynamic change agent, shifting lives of everyone who comes in contact with her. And I'm so, like I said, I'm so excited that she's here with us because I have so many questions. So Gosia, welcome.
Oh my gosh, thank you, Laura, for having me. And I see so many familiar faces and names. So thank you guys for joining us, and everybody in the future. Really, truly, what can we create here together? And what can we walk away with, from our conversation and exchange of different ideas and energies?
And
Let's
exactly,
go!
This is a conversation not just between me and Gosia, and well, it also includes all of you, plus who else is around, right? Who else is here? So we're going to have a conversation about all of that and more. So Gosia, I've been, since I started doing this series back in October, my main questions have always been, hey, when did you get started with Access? How did you get started? And what are some of your favorite tools? So I'm going to ask you all of those, and then what else is possible, right, at this conversation?
Thank you. It was 2010, and I was very deep in my body talk training, and I thought, this is it, finally, an amazing modality, really fast, changes body so fast. And then my dear friend called me and told me, hey, I've been to this presentation and the lady sounded very interesting, and there's this class. And I just asked when and how much and where, and it was 3 days later, it was a bars class. I didn't even know what it is, but it literally, like, my whole body and being lit up with whatever she was talking about. And I did not understand anything. I did not follow anything. I just knew how it made me feel afterwards. I felt like I can fly home, and I was just so happy. And within 3 or 4 weeks, I became bars facilitator, and I just dove into the tools because they seemed like being so fast and so dynamic compared to everything I tried before. And I loved different tools. They were just, I realized how slow they were for me. I needed, like, okay, now is the time. Let's go fast. Let's go dynamic. No more, analyzing the past and digging through the dirt and through the trash and smelling it and saying what it is. It's like, no, let's just dump it, clear it. It's not relevant anymore. Bye-bye. So I love the approach that it's so just, quick and fun and dynamic. So that was June, I think, of 2010, and I haven't stopped since. And at some point, I started being interested more in the world of entities and talk to the entities with Shannon O'Hara, who is Gary's, the founders of Access daughter. And that was actually something that I have been looking for, I think, for a long time, because I didn't know that I did have capacities with entities. And actually, I was affected of the entities a lot in my life. I really had a lot of, depression and sadness. And I had really hard times being in this world, and I didn't know why. I was just aware of entities around me that probably tried to tell me something or show me something, communicate with me, and I was just scared and depressed. So I'm super grateful for those tools because they did change me and my life, and now I can empower others with these tools.
You know, I love what you're saying, because that's exactly how my life was. Like, I was so depressed. I was not happy. I was miserable, and I always had like these negative thoughts all the time in my head, you know, and like just not fun, and, you know, suicidal, and I even tried to commit suicide, and like, it was just like, it was crazy. But in my world growing up, that I didn't know what any of that was, right? And so I mean, of course I knew about ghosts, right? I mean, who doesn't? You know, spirits, I know that, but they're like over there, you know. They're over there somewhere, right? They're not here in my life, they're over there. I remember one time I was in India. This was way back when. I was staying there for 4 months, and we were living in our ancestral home, and I was in one of the rooms upstairs, and in the middle of the night there was this like, somebody was trying to get into my room, but I mean, I had it locked, right? But I heard this banging. It's like, oh my God, you know, what is that, you know? And then so the next morning I told my dad, and after that they said, okay, always keep a candle lit, or, you know, in your room, or whatever we had. And then they said, oh, it was so and so, you know, his great aunt or something. He's like, oh, it was just her, it's not a big deal, but just keep a candle lit in your room, you'll be fine, you know. It's like, oh. It's like, okay. Because that supposedly was her room in the past. Right?
Oh, that's funny.
Right? That was her room. I was like, oh, okay. You know, and then it's like, okay, move on, do my thing, you know. It didn't happen again. But I didn't think about it again. I didn't think that, you know, spirits could really affect you, like with your mental and emotional being a lot. You know, I just thought that they turn lights on, off and on, you know, made the cutlery fall or something, like all these things we hear about, right? It's like all that stuff. I didn't think they actually affected you, right? So it was like, so can you talk about that? It's like, does that happen? Like, can they really? I mean, I know now, but like, what?
I know. No, it's, you know, sometimes I talk about it and it's like, oh my gosh, it is real. And it sounds like a fairy tale or science fiction movie, or am I totally losing it? Am I crazy? And it helps when I'm with someone and they perceive the same. It's like, did you just perceive that? Mm-hmm. Did you notice that? Like, is yes. And it really, like, it took me years to get that this is what I'm doing. I am facilitating entities. I am clearing entities. They do have influence on me. I'm feeling great and happy and joyful. And suddenly I'm all dark and depressed and suicidal. It's like, it did not come from me. It is some outside source that I did not understand. So now it's like the moment I perceive some presence next to me, I just say, hi, what's up? Why are you here? And that's it. The moment they become acknowledged and recognized, they can relax. So imagine being somewhere and visiting someone, let's say, and trying to talk to them, and they completely ignore you. So you would come closer to the face and start, you know, maybe like trying to, hey, I'm here, I'm talking to you, hello. And then you get really upset and frustrated. Yeah. And this is the everyday life of a ghost, okay? They die. They don't know what's happening. Sometimes they don't even know they died because they're still under influence of drugs or alcohol, or they just confused. It was a sudden death, and they don't quite understand that they don't have a body, because many people are unconscious. They are not very well connected to the body. They are not very aware of the body. So they might actually not notice that they don't have a body anymore. And they go home and they try to talk to their friends and family first, and then friends, and then they go everywhere and they're being ignored. So it is a very frustrating reality, a very sad reality, upsetting. They might get angry. So when you have this angry person trying to communicate with you, or frustrated or sad or depressed or completely lost and confused, you know, you might perceive it. And most of us are psychic to some degree. Most of us do perceive, like when you come into the room with all, you know, angry, upset, or sad people, once you know, even if they try to pretend everything is fine, right? So imagine being surrounded by angry, sad, depressed people without the bodies. That's the little, you know, without the bodies. They are going to influence you, especially if you don't see them. So this is what becomes like such a reality check for people. It's like, what is that? Am I going crazy? Did something just touch me? Did something just, whisper something in my ear? And we don't know what to do with it because there's no education about this stuff in Western world. There's way more in the Eastern world, or, African countries, Asian countries, Latin America. There's way more acknowledgement of entities world, ancestral world in the culture, but then there's still misconceptions and there's a lot of superstition, a lot of fear, and a lot of judgment around it. So there's no pragmatic education about spirits and ghosts. And here we are.
And so, and so that brings me up to my next question. It's like, okay, so are entities only spirits and ghosts, or what about the beings of light? I mean, I have a huge team that I work with that work with me, and they're not entities per se, right? They're, what's the difference?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I should have started with this. Thank you, Lara. So entity is the umbrella word. Entity is everything that has any energy that is defined in any way. So actually, it's not only ghosts and spirits and demons and light beings and spirits of the earth and all the fairies and all the light bubbles and orbs. This is all entities. But also entity is your car, because it's defined in some way. Your business is an entity. Your house is an entity. So you can actually apply those tools to all areas of your life, which is what makes them so cool. You can talk to your business and ask, hey, what's up? What do you require of me? Do you like your name? Do we change something? Would you like me to do this or that? You literally can communicate with your business because it is an entity. Also, when you're in a relationship with something, you will create an entity of the relationship. Families have their entities. So this actually spreads into your whole life. It's not only when you encounter a ghost, at midnight.
Yeah. Okay, great. No, thank you. And that really makes this conversation even, I was not more important, but more
applicable,
far-reaching, because you're right. We can apply the tools, to everything in our lives. Like today during one of my group call, I was talking about talk to your business, talk to your website, because I said they are entities, but I was still separating the two, I was separating entity, that entity, and ghosts and spirits and light beings entities, so the metaphysical entities with other entities.
That's true, right? We see them differently, but it actually is not, because let's say a person who died, who becomes a spirit, doesn't have a body anymore. It is usually defined by, I am a ghost or I am a spirit of this and this person who used to be a woman or man, or had this point of views, or was sad or angry or depressed or happy and joyful and kind, right? So those are all definitions. We all have definitions. How many definitions of you do you have? We are man, woman, young, old, smart, stupid. We have all these definitions: mom, wife, lover. We have gazillion of definitions of ourselves that actually all limit us in some way, because every definition is a limitation. And if we just, I have a woman body in this lifetime, we don't have to be attached to that. I am not a woman. I have a female body. So that's different to be aware of all of that. So if I would die, would I still be a ghost of Gosia Lorenz and I'm still a female ghost, or I would be infinite being without the body and I can choose anything? So this is more philosophical conversation, how much do we limit ourselves by all these definitions? What I do, what I don't do, what I like, what I don't like, what's good, what's bad, all this whole universe of what makes us in this reality. What if all of this was just some kind of layer that could be peeled off at some point, and we would dissolve into oneness after we die? We wouldn't have to come back. We wouldn't have to get it right this time, or
even right now in this lifetime, we didn't have to come back. It was a choice, right? Yeah. So, what was I going to say? It's so we actually, or I actually, I'm not going to speak for everybody. I actually talk to entities all the time then.
Yay! Yes, you do.
Because I talk to my guides, I talk to my business, I talk to the trees. I mean, I talk to entities all the time, not realizing I was talking to the entities.
You witch, you would be so burned.
I know, right? Oh,
200 years
been there,
ago.
done that.
But does it make your life easier?
It just like, yeah, it does, because it's like I was putting this so much significance on, okay, the talk to the entities. What is that? I need to figure that out. I need to like understand it. It's like, oh, I'm already doing this. So it's like, okay,
Yeah.
cool. You know, so it's like now I'm able to receive even more, right? Because that pressure is off, right?
So you can receive more, and you can maybe use it even more to your advantage. Like, what can you co-create with all these energies? What would it take for you to invite all the energies, all the molecules from around us, from trees, from plants, from the earth, from the animals, from insects, from other people, from the buildings, from the cars, like anything man-made and nature-made consists of molecules, energy, space, and consciousness, and can be a contribution to us in many, many ways. But we decide, because of these definitions and decisions, we actually cut ourselves off from receiving from different sources, right? Because if we decide something is good, we will receive it. If it's bad, we will not. What if we could receive everything without any judgment? Like, how much easier things would get in life if we could just be with all of it.
Yeah.
Without the resistance and upset and drama, or like,
expectations, even, you know, those expectations and judgments and those projections that we carry around about everything. And so that's what I was doing with the talk to the entities. I had these projections, you know, about what it was like, and these expectations of like what it means, you know, and like, and what, but you know, it's like, okay, cool. So this is so much fun. I'm already having so much fun. So can you talk to us a little bit, because you just mentioned something that I'm like still a little bit not so clear. Mm-hmm. So when you talk about asking for contributions or inviting contributions from everything around you, and somebody mentioned this on one of these calls about even the desk, you know, even like everything's like, what? Part of me was like, okay, I get it philosophically, I get it cognitively, I just don't get it. It's like, what? So I mean, I have beautiful pieces of art in my room, right? And so for me, contribution from them is because I love looking at them, you know? Yeah. So they're a contribution. I love my apartment because of where it is, and it's like, it's such a contribution to me because it brings me joy. Is that what that means? Or is there something else?
Yeah, that's actually very beautiful that you're receiving from all these beautiful objects around you. And they do have their own energy. They all have their own frequency. Mm-hmm. And as I said, everything has energy, space, and consciousness. What if even the ugly concrete wall somewhere that did have their energy, space, and consciousness? I remember once I stood outside on a cold day, I landed somewhere, I think in Canada, going for class, and I looked at this ugly walls, you know, I was like, oh, you're like so gray and boring. Like, I bet nobody even acknowledges you and sees you. And I could perceive this wave of gratitude coming from the concrete wall of the airport outside in a cold day. I was like, all right, I just talked to a concrete ugly wall, and it totally hurt me, and it totally was grateful for me. So that was the switch for me, because it's easy to talk to the beautiful things. It's easy to talk to the trees. I talk to the trees all the time, and I always have been. I talk to the flowers. I talk to, you know, animals. But what if we actually acknowledge everything? I just got a car, and it had a previous owner, and I knew this is the car for me, but it had the energy of the previous owner. Mm-hmm. And I just asked the car all kinds of questions, and all kinds of, you know, I did have to clear certain things that it became imprinted with from the previous owner. But at some point I got into the car and I felt this gratitude, this joy, I'm like, oh, are you happy you own me now and we together? And it was this biggest yes. I said, what do you want to be called? And I heard Lily. I was like, okay, you're Lily now. And now every time I open the garage, I have this wave of like happiness. And then I was driving by my old car today, because it still haven't sold, and I had it for a long time, standing on the street, and I could sense the sadness. I'm like, oh my gosh, I totally abandoned you. I'm so sorry. We're going to find you another owner. I'm like, either I'm really crazy, or I really am like communicating with objects here,
Mm-hmm.
but they're all alive, everything is alive. So what if we acknowledge that everything is alive and ask like, hey guys, can you contribute to me?
Mm-hmm.
Without any preconceived ideas, any
Right.
like agenda, it has to show up this and this way. What if they just send you contribution and gratitude for being acknowledged? Like, how do you feel when somebody acknowledges you? Not like, oh, nice dress, but like, wow, you're so amazing.
Mm-hmm.
You are such a gift. Like, how does it feel to you when you're being acknowledged and seen by someone?
Yeah.
Right? It just feels so good. And you become this gratitude, space of joy, space of gratitude. And by being that, you are changing everything and everyone around you. So what if we acknowledge the walls of our house and the tree outside of the house, it would become different because it's being received. Because contribution is when you simultaneously give and receive, when there's this flow.
Mm-hmm.
So what if we could co-create and coexist with everything, even if you're like a ugly city with only buildings? I started inviting like fairies into like the smallest, square of green outside, or little, hedge. It's like, hey, is there any fairies that would like to live here? Everything seems more alive around me now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah, I never thought that, to actually talk to the buildings or talk to the inanimate objects, because I was always told they're inanimate, they're not alive,
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That's what we're taught, we're not taught that you can actually communicate with them and that they are alive. But they do. Everything has consciousness. I mean, I know that, right? So everything has consciousness, right? So that means you can communicate because you are consciousness. Ah, wow. I'm just getting aha. It's like
aha, big ahas. The light bulbs going everywhere.
Yeah,
can
exactly.
perceive that. So I should have started from one or other thing as well. But when it comes to, I always start from like the deepest end, and then I like backpedal and then go even deeper.
I love it.
There are only three things you're ever going to do with entities. So anything that has energy and is defined by anything, by any definition. So you will clear them. You can clear the energy of something. Some people call it facilitation. So facilitate them or clear them. You can communicate with them or talk to them, and you can receive from them. And sometimes it's all three when you work with entities. Sometimes it's all three. You will clear them, you communicate with them, and at the end you receive from them, or it's all simultaneous. Or maybe an entity comes only for clearing and off they go immediately. And so you can do it with objects, like I did my car. I had to clear my car, and then I communicated with my car, and I'm on receiving because it's being such a contribution. So I used all of those three elements. There's actually nothing else you're ever going to do with anything around you. There's always clearing, communicating, and receiving. I hope this makes things easier for you guys, if it seems like such overwhelming new information to you.
Oh no, I think they're all loving it. And I forgot to mention at the beginning, because I was so excited about this conversation, to say, if you have a question, you can raise your hand and come on live with us, or you can submit a question in the chat.
We have a lot of questions actually in the chat.
Yeah, so there's wonderful, beautiful comments, and I love it. Okay, so if you want to, you can raise your hand, or you can submit a question in the Q&A. And because this is not just for me, because I'm just having so much fun, but this is also for you all as well.
So I have a couple of things.
There's somebody on right now who wants to talk. Hello?
Yeah?
Hello?
Hi, who's this?
Oh, good. Hi, this is Gloria. Thank you for the wonderful call. I was wondering if... Hi. I was wondering if you could help me, clear, receiving, keeping my heart open. I'm not... And I don't even like saying it because it sounds negative, but I'm not too good at receiving. I don't trust the receiving.
Yeah, thank you, Gloria, for this question. And thank you. Wow, this is such a big subject, actually. Receiving is very hard for most people. How many of you just gives with total ease, and you're always giving, and you can't even receive a simple compliment or acknowledgement? Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
So, we,
Yeah.
Alara, do you
I love giving. I love giving. I do. And I love giving like in a quiet way, like that, so nobody will notice.
Yeah.
And when they do, it's like, so yeah.
Can I ask you a question, Gloria? Can I ask you something?
Please.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, do you actually receive you?
No. I don't. No, that's hard.
Yeah. So, how things would be for you if you started receiving you?
I'm okay. All right. How do you do? And I've been whatever. How do I do? Where do I begin? Where do I even begin?
So you can facilitate. You can do clearings and all that stuff on these.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So everything that brings up, first of all, is destroyed and uncreated, right and wrong, good and bad, light, shades, voice, and beyonds. And everywhere you learn from this reality, from your parents, from your family, from your friends, co-workers, schools, everywhere you went, your country, your land, your culture, about not receiving, that receiving is wrong and bad, that you are not worthy.
Yeah.
The acknowledgement. And worthy of what? There's something else. Of being everything you be.
Yeah.
Will you just read it, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POC, all nice shots, boys and beyond. So what would your life be like if you actually did receive you? And in order to do that, honey, you cannot judge you. And this is that little thing, that judgment thing, that is completely useless. And yet we do it all the time. It doesn't do anything except of making us wrong and judge, like makes us feel terrible about ourselves. It's something that we should get over, because it's so 90s to sit in the judgment, guys. Like, really, you should stop. But if you love doing it, you can continue. And you can't receive you and be grateful for you and be happy and be joyful if you judge yourself for anything. So what if anything that you did, anything that you're judging yourself for, was just a choice at certain time that seemed like a really good choice, even though it was like really not the greatest choice? And what if you looked at all of that, at your past, at all your choices just as that? Like, okay, I chose it. Oh, well, wasn't the brightest one. Oh, well, what can I create now? What can I be now? What can I choose now? Like, what if you never, ever beat yourself up for anything ever again, and just kept going and kept acknowledging you for the smallest things, and focus on the things you can be grateful for rather than things you can judge yourself for? It's like, oh, how can I judge myself? Let me count the ways. No, it's how can I be grateful for myself? How can I acknowledge myself? Okay, where is the gift I'm being? What is it that's so special about me? How many Glorias there are in the world? Not that many, right? I think there's only one.
Thank goodness.
You're all special just by being you. And if you will choose to see this unique qualities of you, you can see the gift that you are. And what is your gift? Do you see your gift? Do you see what you are and who you are? Or you've bought in a lot of things that have nothing to do with you. So everything that brings up destroy and uncreated, please, okay? Wow.
Yes.
Right and wrong, good and bad, POC, night, shades, boys and beyonds. And everywhere you guys, you judge yourself just by default. Like, that's your automatic pilot default thing. Like, I'm going to go into conclusion and judgment because that feels so good and yummy, right? Let's just try to create all of that.
Yes. That was me, for sure. Tell me.
Yeah, and how much... for me, like, when in doubt, laugh it out. Like, what can you laugh at? Like, what can you find that's amusing to you? What can you, even a scary person that judges you? Like, what if you just found something funny about it? Like, I don't know, turn them into cartoons, turn them into something funny that will make you laugh or make it lighter. Like, if you lighten up the energy about something that you make so scary and so significant and so things will change, because you're the source of the creation of everything around you. You're not the effect of. When you make yourself the effect of, then you're making yourself a victim, and that doesn't feel that great. At least for me. Maybe it does for you guys, but I don't think so. So all the victimhood stories and all the me being the effect of, and all the they did this to me, and he did this to me, and she did this to me, and all the places where you in a space of total disempowerment of you and your being, and where you stop trusting you, when you stop being you, where you stop being the potency and the power of you. Let's destroy and uncreate all of that.
Yes.
And let's go. Whew, let's go to the point of creation of all of that. And everywhere we thought it was a great idea to be that and choose that. Let's destroy and uncreate. Right, wrong, good, what all my shits, boys, and beyonds. Woo! Yeah. People were asking, how do you raise your hand?
Yeah, and you know what? I don't know. Because, it's somewhere there. But I know who wants to. So, Michelle, I will unmute you in a second. And
thank you, Gloria. Are you good? Is there anything else?
No, that feels good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think you do star 2 to raise your hand. I think. I don't know. I get or star 6 to unmute us. Okay. No. Thank you. You cleared. Yeah, it cleared my head. Thank you.
Good. Thank you.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you. Have a nice holiday. Thank you.
Thank you. You too.
So cute. Yeah, I mean, I know that Randy has his hand raised, but Michelle was wanting to raise her hand. Let me just find you, Michelle, quickly, and then I'll go to Randy after that. Okay, Michelle, I'm going to unmute you. Okay, so then you can talk, Michelle.
Hello, thank you for taking my call.
Yeah, hi,
Michelle. How are you doing?
Doing well. I'd like some help in moving forward out of struggle. It seems like life is hard. It seems harder than it's supposed to be. So I'd like some help unraveling that, or any interference. I'd appreciate it.
Okay. Do we have 3 days, Alara?
Yeah. Right. A couple lifetimes, maybe.
Let's just change your life in like 2 minutes. Let's just undo everything you created in like centuries. All right. Let's do it. Okay, so first of all, I always come from a place where, like, I acknowledge that it's my creation. I don't know if you're willing to do that.
Yes.
And I go into the most ridiculous place, which is, what do I love about creating this? What do I love about pain and suffering? What do I love about being miserable? What do I love about complaining about my life? I'm going fast because we don't have much time. Okay, if you get upset, sorry. All right, good. So everything that brings up will be destroyed and created, please.
Yes.
Wow. Right and wrong, good and bad, when all night shots, boys and beyonds. And guys, we did have a lot of lifetimes where we bought into, like, we did something horrible, we did something wrong, we were evil people, and we killed people, and all of that. And we carry a lot of energy of guilt and shame and regret and blame from those lifetimes. But I also discovered that a lot of these lifetimes have been implanted or explanted, which sounds, I know, completely crazy. But this is what seems to read. And so how many of the lifetimes, and this is not only for you, Michelle, this is for everyone, like, how many of the lifetimes that you believe you were evil and bad and wrong and did something horrible and destroyed and killed were implanted or explanted lifetimes? And if it reads for you, okay, let's would you like to clear that, destroy and uncreate that? All right. Whoa. Okay, so all the implanted and explanted lifetimes that keep you stuck, keep you limited, keep you small, keep you not in less than anything and everything you truly are and truly be. Will you destroy and uncreate it, please?
Yes.
Destroy and uncreate that. I'm going to just uninstall all of that, disconnect, dissipate, and release.
Wow.
Revoke, recant, resent, reclaim, renounce, destroy, and uncreate. Right, wrong, bad, pot, all night shots, boys and beyonds. And it is also a lot of lifetimes when we had some religious connections where you have to suffer for your sins, right? So you have those lifetimes, they're not even real, true, very often. And then you bought into the idea of sin and that you did something horrible and bad and you have to suffer for that. So all of this yummy and fluffy and light stuff, right, that we bought into that keeps running us now, let's destroy and uncreate it, please. Whew.
And so this is not just for Michelle, but if this is reading for you, it's for you as well, because it's reading for me. So I'm like experiencing it as well. So just so you know.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Now and in the future, this will read, and this is a case for a lot of people that, or the seekers, all the light workers, they're all looking for different possibility in life, because they know there's something more to what they believe is true, or for what they learn from this reality is true. So does life have to be actually hard and difficult? It doesn't, yet somehow we create it as such. So is this your reality that life is difficult? Maybe you bought it from somebody else. Maybe you had parents that believe they have to work hard and suffer, and like, this is just the way it is, you know, and you have to be like, I don't know, thankful that you're alive. Whatever it is, whether it's a culture, whether it's your parents, whether it's, you know, maybe your husband or your wife or your children, like whoever you bought this as real and true for you, will you please destroy and uncreate it?
Yes.
Right and wrong, good and bad, pon, poc, all nice, shirts, boys and beyonds. And what if life was about having fun, being more joyful? Like, where is your joy? Where did you bury your joy? And how far and how deep did you bury your joy because you believed in all the pain and suffering of the world? And how much are you carrying this on you that doesn't allow you to be joyful because you're supposed to suffer in this world? So everything that brings up, will you destroy and uncreate it, please?
Yes.
Right and wrong, good and bad, porn, poc, all nice, shoots, boys and beyonds. And let's look now, because it is, we did want to talk about entities, and there were some requests for you know, reading. I don't really do readings. I ask questions, and we both come up with things that, for me, it's kind of disempowering if I tell you what I get. It's more like, what do you get if I ask you questions, and let's see what we can create together, what we can change. Yeah. So let's do like this. And it's Michelle, this is for you and for everybody else. Let's do some clearing for entities and demons. Would you like that, guys? Let's just like massive clearing for everyone who will get a yes on the question. Yes. And let's do it. And I love that Freddie is so engaged, and he nods his head and like lifts his finger. Thank you for being here with us, honey. And Rosia, thank you for bringing your beautiful son with us. All right, let's do it.
Yeah.
So truth, are you more, and this is, I'm asking each one of you, are you more than one person in your body? Anybody gets a yes?
Yes.
I think there's a lot of yeses. Yeah. Yeah, I would say so. So, okay, if you're more than one person, and it's okay if it's working for you, it's okay. And for many people, it's not working, or it did work at certain time, like times of abuse or times where things were difficult. We actually invite different energies, different beings into our bodies because we don't think we can make it. So nothing can ever attack you or get you or jump into you without your permission. There's always a permission on some level, guys. There's always an invitation. And when you think something just attacks you for no reason, you're becoming a victim. Not the case. You are not victims, guys. So you always invited them somehow, even if you said, I can't take this anymore. This is killing me. You know, I can't hear this. This is breaking my heart. It's like, oh yeah, I can do it for you. I can take it for you. I can help you kill yourself. Like, this is the opening doors to those energies coming in. If you would be willing to be the dominant entity in your life, to be the boss of your life, you would never invite those energies that might not be the biggest contribution right now. And I know at some point it might have, you know, saved your life to have somebody else take the pain or take you know, traumatic events that were happening, but is it still relevant? So all these entities that you perceive in your body, that's more than one, are they still relevant? Truth. If it's light, it's a yes. If it's no, if it's heavy, it's a no. Are they still a contribution to you? Maybe are you still a contribution to them? That might be the case. And are you holding on to them, or they are holding on to you? That's another aspect. So I'm giving you a picture because it might be different for each one of you. It might be that you invited them and they are not relevant anymore. You don't need them anymore. It might be they're actually holding on to you. This might be some old stuff, old vows, commitment from another lifetime. You know, your grandma who said, I will always take care of you. Grandma died 200 years ago. She's still taking care of you, sitting in your body, and you have to eat for her and like accommodate her, grow bigger body, whatever that is. Like it could be gazillion different possibilities. Okay. But if it's not a contribution anymore, are you willing to let them go? Okay, so now tell them, okay, guys, the ride is over. The bread and breakfast is closing down. We're not doing this anymore. Thank you so much for your contribution. Thank you so much for doing the job I gave you, because you did give them a job. And now I do no longer require you, need you. You need to go now. You need to go now. You need to go now. Sometimes they will go even with that. Sometimes they need a little bit more. So you can say goodbye, give them a final hug, whatever you want to do. Now they have to go. So now I'm going to do the clearing, entities clearing. It's super easy and rather effective most of the cases. Unless you're really hanging on to them. All right, so now, truth, who are you guys? I'm talking to the entities that are actually in your body that need to go if they haven't left yet. So truth, who are you guys? And they're like, oh, I'm this and this and this and this. Truth, who were you before that? Oh, I was this and this and this. Truth, who are you all before that? Oh, I was this and this and this. So you're giving them awareness that they have a choice. They were somebody else before, right? They are not the stuck energy, the definition of what they think they are, or even that they have something to do for you. So truth, who are you before that? Truth, who are you all 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 before that? Truth, who will you be in the future? You can go now. Thank you. Take all your magnetic imprinting and baggage and go now. And now for the little different ones. Truth, what is your job? Because they might believe they have a job, that you've given them. What were your jobs before that? What were all 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 your jobs before that? What will all the jobs your jobs be in the future? What can you choose? What's the value of holding on to the body? You can go now. And now, truth, what are you? Sometimes they're more like creature entities. What were you before that? What were you all 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 before that? Whew. What were you all before that? That's a lot of that. What were you all before that? What were you all before that? What will you be in the future? Thank you so much. And one more, like even deeper one, all the oaths, vows, commitments, fealties, communities, secret binding money contracts, promises, swearings, loyalties you have with all of those beings across of lifetimes, dimensions, and realities. Will you now let it go? Clear, destroy, and create. Thank you. Revoke, recant, rescind, reclaim, renounce, now, destroy, and create it, please. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC, all night, shots, boys, and beyonds. How are you guys doing? Did anything change? Woo! I see some thumbs up, yes. Some nodding. Yeah, thank you for feedback. To you too. Alpena.
Yes. Oh, that was amazing. Wow.
Thank you. That was a quickie, and sometimes we have to go into more like in a private session. If sometimes they will not leave immediately because there's some unfinished business. There's some unspoken, deal that it's still running. So, but they eventually always leave if you're willing to let them go. It's not like you stuck with them forever. But sometimes there's more like, it's more like a relationship problems, Have you ever had like this bad relationship you couldn't end, or like you kept getting back together even though you knew it's toxic for you, and you're like totally not a guy for you, but he's someone, but I love him, but he told me he loves me, yeah, but he beat you up and like was really mean to you, yeah, but he said he loved you, right? All of that. So sometimes we have this stupidity and awareness running our relationships with entities. Somehow it works for us. Somehow it gives us something we believe it's good about that. It doesn't have to be, guys. It doesn't have to be like that. So you can look at that and look at this with total vulnerability, because you do require vulnerability and honesty, brutal honesty with you. Like, what is it giving me? Where do I check out in my life? Do I check out when it comes to finances? Do I check out when it comes to, to sex with my husband or boyfriend, and I don't actually want to do it, and somebody else comes in and does it for me, and I check out and go to sleep? Is this something that has to do with work because I actually hate my job? Or is it when I go to visit my family because I cannot stand these people? Like, where is it where you're not willing to be present in your life, where you give up power, the potency, and you let somebody else run you? It's like you kind of drive your car sometimes, but sometimes you don't. Sometimes you let somebody else drive your car, and sometimes you go to sleep. Sometimes you hide in a trunk. It's like, no, you're the driver. It's your car, your body. Be the driver, be the reserve one, designate the driver for this one particular car, okay? But we get entangled with different things, and we forget that we are the bosses of our life, that we are the creators, that everything revolves around us, now a creation, and we do have the power and capacity to do that and we do influence everything around us. And that's the place of empowerment. And entities, for me, they're an invitation to that. Like even the nastiest of nastiest demons, they're like really mean and dark and stuff. For me, they're like, oh, they're still like finding a place where they can get me, where I have some judgment of me or have some judgment of something. Because without the judgment, they would never be able to have any influence of you. So any judgment you have, very often some limiting belief that you have, any kind of belief is a judgment usually, right? So like all of that can be that hook and that invitation for them. So everything that brings up, will you destroy and uncreate it, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, one vocal, nice shots, boys and beyonds. If you were willing to be the infinite being, clear, conscious, aware, in allowance of what is, they would have no power over you. There will be no hooks. There will be no breeding ground for them. You'd be the most boring, disgusting, repellent for demons and entities ever. And I'm talking about the darker ones, because they do occur. But if you can totally invite like beings of light into creation, what we call our guides, I call them team. We can co-create with them. We can co-create with earth spirits. And sometimes there are entities, let's say somebody from your family that totally cares about you. Maybe they're not the most conscious person, but they loved you and they cared about you. So maybe you don't seek advice, like life advice from them, but you can ask them for contribution and they will. So I have a sometimes problem with like seeking advice from entities. Because your grandma died, it doesn't mean she became enlightened and she suddenly is like this all-knowing, wise person. If she was like not that smart and very simple, but loving lady, right? But this is what happens with worshiping the ancestors. Somehow we give them superpowers because they lost the body. It's not the case. Nothing changes until after we die. Like if somebody was a kind person, they will be a kind entity. If somebody was stupid, they will remain to be stupid. Somebody was mean and clueless and unkind, they're going to be the same. So nothing really changes after we die. Like things remain the same. We just don't have a body and we don't have the time perception that's the same and like spatial awareness that is the same. But that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, I can talk forever, as you can say. So please say something.
So we do have two people still with their hands raised. We have Randy and Yvonne. And then there was a question from Albina way back when, which I thought was a really good one, a good question to ask. It's like something about how to create
money.
Yeah, and creating money with entities. Can you talk about expanding on creating money with entities?
Yeah, that's another class that I love facilitating. It's one of my most favorite classes because you see, money is about receiving. So we started with Gloria, do you receive you? How much are you willing to receive? How much do you receive from everything around you? Money falls into this category. If you're willing to receive everything without the judgment, just with gratitude and joy of receiving, money will come to you. So how many points of views do you have about money that stops you from receiving the money and stops you from receiving them with ease and joy and glory? And you can also ask the entities. So if you work on your receiving, money will be easier right away. But you can also ask, because there are entities that would like to contribute to you and they have no problem contribute to you. And maybe you have some entities that owe you money from another lifetime. So you can ask them to pay you the money back. And you can like, hey, anybody. So what I do, I ask, hey, anybody who wants to contribute, please do. And entities can bring you money. Always when you clear them, you can ask them for to pay you, because it is more like, when somebody does something for you, don't you like to compensate them in one way or another? It doesn't mean you find an envelope full of money, which happens too, but it might be, free parking spot because this is all you can receive, or somebody gives you upgrade, or somebody, gives you a free dinner or something. Albina, you have a question. She's waving her hand. Maybe we can unmute her. Yeah.
Yeah. So I do that. And when I do that, so do you ask them for the compensation before you clear them or after?
It doesn't matter however you want to do it. I'm usually really bad with that. I just do it. I just clear. It's like, oh shoot, I forgot to ask them to pay me. And so then I go like, everybody I cleared in the past, all the gazillions and millions of entities, pay me, guys. But yeah, if some people were really diligent about it. I had some students from classes, they're like, oh yeah, I don't talk to anybody unless they're going to pay me $30,000 for clearing, they're like really clear about it. I just keep going. But I know they contribute to me all the time, make things easier for me. So it's up to you, really. Like, are you going to remember? Because I usually forget. Like, are you going to be diligent about it? Remember it? Are you going to always ask before, hey, guys, this is a paid conversation. Like my friend said, he had so many entities coming for clearing. At some point, he said, you know what? I'm charging $1,000 for clearing. Whoever is not willing to pay me, you may leave now. And it's like most of them left. Only few of them were willing to pay because they might have point of view about money too, right? They might be like, why should I pay? Or some of them like, of course, I'm so grateful for you. Absolutely. Anything you want. And it could be anything. Could be money. Could be, you find some jewelry. You find great deals. You suddenly, the plane ticket you were looking at, it's like half price and you get it. And this time, like this all could be, you can ask. I always ask, is this entities paying me? Because sometimes there are these miraculous situations where like seems like something fell on my lap, or somebody invites me or pays me or gives me something that's really valuable because they're grateful for me. I always ask, is this entities? And I usually like 99% of the time is yes. So they will find a way to pay you. So it could be through your friend inviting you for dinner, It doesn't have to be like somebody handing you money. Or like if I can't really get someone to clear because they have a message for someone that I don't know, I say, hey, find this person and bring them. And I have always this random people finding me clients from all over the world. Like they need suddenly a session. I don't even know them. And I don't even know the person that referred them to me that they say they know me. I have no idea. So they will find a way. You just have to be willing to receive from unexpected sources and be open to it. And have fun with it, enjoy, and thank them.
Great, thank you, Albina.
Thank you.
Love you. She's the one who was over. We were swapping bars earlier today. Yay!
Oh, Deborah is asking. Hi, Deborah. So, what kind of questions did you ask the car? What questions would you ask to sell antiques or collectibles? Thank you so much. Yeah, with antiques, you can ask them. Like generally, selling things, you can ask for the object to find a new owner that will love and appreciate it, or whatever you'd like the object to have. You can ask also if there's energies of the previous owner. Very often there are entities attached to antiques, to cars. Like the car I bought, it had like some very strange creepy energies. And I knew it's not the car. I knew it's just the previous owner. And what I did, I cleared all the unconsciousness and anti-consciousness, inculcated into the molecular structure of the car. So you can do it with the house if you buy it, because there's unconsciousness, anti-consciousness, and it could be also decisions, judgments, conclusions, computations, projections, expectations, like whatever the person was, thoughts, feelings, and emotions that get imprinted, because that all has energy and it imprints into the molecules of the car, of the house, of the with furniture or clothes. I bought this beautiful ring once in a pawn shop, but it was really beautiful. And this guy who was always into like muscle testing and everything is like, look, this ring is making you weak. And I was like, oh, I didn't even check that. So I took the ring. I literally ran 2 clearings. And I was like, oh, now you're good. Now you're mine. And he tested me and he about to like fell down. He could not believe how fast I changed the energy of the ring, making me weak, my muscles weak to like really, really strong. And I was like, oh, thanks for reminding, we can clear it. But for him, he would never buy the ring because it makes him weak. For me, we can change things. We have the tools to change. We are the creators. We're the powerful force behind all of that, right? So for me, it was like, oh no, I spent all this money or like something that's making me weak. No, I was like, oh, let's change it. Oh, now we can have fun together.
I love that. Wow.
So what if you buy the clothes from second, store, shop, secondhand shop, or somebody gives you something, or something feels kind of not right, like the house, you like the house, but there's some strange energies. What if you could clear it all? My friend just bought a house. I was there on Saturday, and she said that she was aware of like 2 entities in the house, like previous owner and his wife. But when she moved in, there was like legions and legions, layers that started emerging. They literally hid, and we got that they wanted her in the house because her and her kids had so much like connections with all these entities, but it was literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of different layers. And like there was a whole group of soldiers. They looked like homeless guys. They were led by her little 10-year-old son to death. And they were like seeking him out and had influence on him. Yeah. Wow. And we're like, hey guys, he's not your general anymore. He's a little kid, another lifetime. Explain them. They left. And it was like all these layers of amazing like stories. And we both like, either we're really crazy or like we both perceived the same. We perceived how they looked. We perceived all these things. And then there's at the end, these two owners, you know, sitting they lived in the bathroom, her bathroom. I was like, guys, is this really enough for you? Like, don't you want to find like a castle or something to live in? You want to sit in her bathroom that naked people would like walk around in? Like, and they're like, oh, and they left. So that was funny. Yeah, and
I love how it's so easy to do clearing of entities. I mean, it's within minutes you can clear entities, you know, because I mean, I've learned how to clear entities in the shamanistic way, which takes a bit longer, right? But this is so, like, not even 5 minutes.
Yeah, because it can be pragmatic. If you show someone a different possibility, if you ask them a question, they will get it. Like when you facilitate people, right? It doesn't have to be a ritual. Like what if we treated the entities just the way you would like to be treated when you die? Like, do you want people to be scared of you or doing some strange, weird rituals or burning candles for you? Like, no. Or like smoking you with sage? No, because it doesn't work. Like, you want to have like, hi, what's up? How are you doing without the body? Are you having fun? Like, you can have the same relationship with someone who passes, because we get so attached to bodies. We think when the person dies, they're gone. You're not gone. The body is gone. The being is not gone. So you can have the relationship. They can come and visit you. I have my amazing grandma who keeps visiting me, and she just pops in and says, hi, I love you, and she disappears. Like, that's it. I don't make it significant. I don't ask her for advice. I sometimes ask her to contribute if I know that she would. Like, you can have this beautiful, amazing relationships with those beings around you without like making it a big deal that they don't have a body. Maybe one day, maybe 500 years from now, maybe 100 years from now, maybe 10, this will be normal, that we'll have entities in governments, that we'll have entities sitting on board of directors, that we will have, you know, entities running companies, because everybody will be so aware of them. Because we think that we die, everything ends. It doesn't. Like, there's banks where the old bankers still sit. I saw it, like I perceive that. They're like old, you know, buildings where the builders are still living there because they don't even know that something else is available. So that's why this facilitation, asking the questions, can be such a contribution. We have there's a question from Adriana.
And we also have people with their hands raised. So
so what do? We don't have much time. How much
do you still have? Do you have time still?
I do have time, absolutely.
I have time. Yeah, I have time.
Okay.
It's like, why wouldn't I want to continue this conversation with you? This was like so amazing. But before we take any more questions, I just want to talk briefly about you're offering everyone a gift, everyone who chooses, a gift of a 20-minute personal one-on-one session with you. So can you talk a little bit about that before we take some more questions?
Yeah, I would do what I do now. I ask you some questions. We can run some clearings, and you know, we can see what we can create with 20 minutes. And if you feel like you want to way more, I always offer sessions on Skype or phone or in person. If you're somewhere in Orange County, California, or Southern California, absolutely. And I actually facilitate those classes all over the world. I am traveling a lot with Talk to the Entities classes, and only bars classes are prerequisites. And it's a 2-day class that changes so much for people. They start trusting themselves. They learn exactly step by step how to clear all kinds of entities. They learn about different kinds of entities. And I love facilitating those classes because the change I perceive, I see, I witness in just 2 days. I've never seen anything like this with anything else. So and I know I make it super light, and I make it, you know, kind of not a big deal. And it is such a big deal for so many people when they come in, and 2 days later, like, oh my gosh, I've been making it so difficult for me.
And so significant, you know?
Yeah. So my whole life.
For those of you who are interested, you can go on the gifts page, and you all have access to the gifts page when you signed up. It's there, and the gifts page link will be in the replay email later tonight as well. Okay, so please do take advantage of it. Why
Absolutely.
not? Right?
Absolutely. And you can, just email me and we can find time. I could not create a calendar because my working times are so random and I'm pretty booked, but I will find time for you guys. Even if it takes, 2-3 weeks, I will find time for you.
Beautiful.
So please do.
Thank you. All right. So do we want to go to Randy? Randy, I'm going to unmute you. So we're just going to take Randy and Yvonne, and we'll come back and check the Q&A in a moment. Okay. So Randy, I'm going to unmute you. Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Hello, Randy. Hi.
How's my mic? Is it okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I could talk fast too. I'm from New York. You're great.
Thank you.
Wow. What you already gave us. Last night I was trying to figure out why I was dizzy, and it was because of all the clearings. I was in the quantum, and what you just gave us was just like off the chart already.
Thank you.
I'm asking about body sensations.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of body sensations, and it's overwhelming. And also, I turn on a light, it attracts bugs. As much as I'm self-confident and aware and a bright light and told of my truth, that stuff's been persecuted and hunted for so many lifetimes. It's popular to be other than bright light and truth. And I encounter that resistance and that I feel like a target sometimes for other people's stuff. Where can you go from there? Thank you. I love you.
Oh, thank you so much for that. And yes, this is what's happening a lot. Okay, so what if nothing tried to get you and attack you and you don't have enemies? That means you're not being everything you are. What if the greater you get, the bigger you get, the brighter you get, the more you will be controversial, the more you will be judged, and the more you can actually step up from that and receive all of that. So what if you did receive the judgment? What if you did receive the attacks with no point of view? So let's do a little exercise, okay? Because this really helped me with like things, because I've always was like kind of staying hidden and nobody would ever like, I didn't have enemies, and now I'm like getting attacked from all over. And at some point I was like, oh shoot, what do I do with this one? And I was getting overwhelmed. But then it's like, would an infinite being get overwhelmed? Or I just have to, choose something different and be greater and bigger, so nothing can stop me. So now it's like, it's all you got, try harder, crank it up. And I turn up this energy and it kind of dissipates, because rather than resist and react and build a wall and trying to, so how much energy are you using with your body to stop all of this, to block all of this, to separate yourself from all these energies that you decided were negative or bad or evil or dark, right? So everything that is, let's destroy and uncreate it. Randy and everybody else, right and wrong, good and bad, porn, pork, all night, shits, boys and beyonds, because without any judgment, any polarity, nothing would have power over you. Like literally nothing would have power. And I sometimes, like when I recently had a lot of strange energies, just like, having impact on my body. And I knew it was energetic. I knew it's like, I don't have to go to a chiropractor to change it. It might help a little bit, but there's still this huge intensity in my back, let's say. And I was like, okay, what kind of energy can I be that would change it? And I tapped into energy of the earth. Like, how would earth be with everything? Like, how is earth being with everything? We abuse the earth. We do horrible things to do. We pollute the earth. We rape the earth. We abuse, kill the earth. And it's still being there. Always gifting, always receiving, always kind. Even if it's creating a tsunami of fires, it's always kind. Just our judgment that says that it's wrong. It's just always there. And I tapped into this amazing space of such peace that everything dissipated. All this intensity I've had for a few weeks in my back, like literally disappeared and hasn't come back since. That I literally became the energy of the earth with all of that. Rather than resist and react, I received that. So let's do a little exercise that might be presenting it a little differently. So put in front of you, you can close your eyes if you'd like to, but you don't have to. Put in front of you the person that attacks you, or the energy that attacks you, or somebody who judges you, somebody nasty, or some situation that's really overwhelming and difficult and is like pain in the butt in your life right now. Put it in front of you, however you want to imagine it, or put it energetically in front of you. And now lower your barriers, because you probably have a lot of barriers to this person, to this reality, to this situation, to this thing. Lower it. If you have to, push it down, push it down, push it down, push it down, push it down. Lower, force them down, even if it hurts. Force them down, push them down, lower, lower, lower. Even the deepest of the deepest of the deepest barriers, lower it. Be most vulnerable. Be like open wound, become space. And now start expanding your energy, Fill out your room, house, city, town, state, country, continent, and earth. Keep expanding, bigger, 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 including down into the earth. Go to the outer edges of the universe. Still stay present in your body. Don't check out, don't go anywhere. You stay in your body and be the infinite being you truly be, as big as the universe and beyond. Now, when you probably cannot find any edges of you, perceive this energy that you put in front of you that was so horrible and nasty and difficult and judgmental and big and scary. And now receive this energy into you that is as big as the universe. Receive it, receive it. Don't let any barriers to come up. Just receive it and release it. Let it go. And you can circulate it again. Put this person or situation again in front of you. Don't contract. Don't erect any barriers or walls. And receive this person again into your body. Notice what comes up. If there's any contraction, any darkness, anything, just dissipate and release all of that. Invite this energy, invite this person, and release it. You can do it in the back or however it shows up for you. And if it's still kind of significant and big, you can do it again. And also notice your body. If there's any sensations in your body, any contraction in your body, any pain in your body, intensity in your body, invite it, receive it. Say, hi body, thank you so much. Thank you for all this information. Return it to sender now with consciousness attached. Dissipate and release, dissipate and release, dissipate and release, dissipate and release, dissipate and release. You can gift it to the earth. You can gift it anywhere you'd like. It's just information, just intensity. It's only barriers that make it difficult for your body to be space and joy. There we go. How was it? Stay expanded.
Wow.
How was it?
Wow,
did
wow.
it
Thanks for the
change,
dance.
maybe?
I said, wow. Thanks for the dance. I doubt other opportunities.
Oh,
God bless.
thank you.
Thank you, Randy.
Thank you, love. Thank you so much. Yeah, and this is, guys, how you can heal. Yes, I'm so happy. This is, you see how simple it is? It's only here that will make something so big and so scary and so significant and so, huge or overpowering. It really is only here. Everything is energy. We can change energy. We cannot destroy energy per se, because energy just is, but we can change it. We can lighten up something. We can release something. It's only our judgment, our, this is right, this is wrong. When we're hanging on to this stuff and create this contraction, this is when problems happen. If you're willing to just be space with all of it, receive all of it, good, bad, ugly, you be good. Your life will be easy.
I teach that every day, and you reminded me to be me.
Right. Sometimes we forget to walk our talk. I know.
Good. Thank you so much, Randy. I'm glad we did that. Thank you. Wow.
Oh.
All right. So let me go to Yvonne. Yvonne, you're up next.
Thank you so much. Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Yvonne.
Lara, when you're in Toronto, yes, we must meet up.
Absolutely. I will. Definitely. I'll let you know before I come.
Yeah. No, I get into, I'm totally open and I'm ready to receive and I'm ready to, we live in a condo and We have my in-laws. We like to sell, move out of the city, create a spa and retreat, because I see myself standing in front of people. I already coach people privately. I don't really know where to get started with that.
Lots of questions.
So you know what? I have a tall order at the moment.
I love it.
Yes. So you basically want to start your life all over again. And you want the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps. Yeah? Okay. How many? Just kidding.
Whatever it takes. I know starting with step 1 is what I need to do.
All right. So what if we didn't need steps? We just ask questions and see what shows up. So first of all the decisions, judgments, conclusions, computations, projections, expectations, separations, rejections, you create it.
Yes.
About that. Whew, none of that in here, right? Yeah. Let's destroy and uncreate it, please. Yes. Wow, right from bed, book, all night, shut close and beyond. So what if you could really just stay in a question rather than, because sometimes we conclude something and we decide something and we actually cannot receive or create anything greater than that. So maybe like your plan sounds amazing. I'm not saying like I'm not turning down your plan. It's like, it sounds amazing. And what if you could add, many things to it, or something else would show up in a slightly different form. But when we like decide something, we try to put this creation into a box and we not allow for it to just flow. So what if you were just present with all of this, with your future, and looked at every choice, like, okay, if I choose this, what will it create? Will it get me closer to my target, to my creation? Or if I choose this, what will be, easier? Like you can ask questions and perceive the future. We're all capable of perceiving the future. We actually all have that. We just don't do it. So what I normally do. So if I choose this, what will it create? If I don't choose this, or if I choose the other way, what will it create? Also, another great question is, if I choose this, what will my life be like 5 years from now? If I don't choose this, what will my life be like 5 years from now? 10 years, 15 years? What will the earth be like 100, 500 years from now? That's my favorite, actually. Look at the earth with your choices and with your creations. So when it's light, go for it. When it seems like struggle, difficult, maybe it's not the time. Sometimes it's just not the time. When the timing is right, everything just fall into place. And like within 2 days, you have something that normally would take 2 months. Have you experienced magic like that? So like, what if you would be willing to be like total space, lightness, and magic, and space of possibilities with all of that, rather than, I do have a plan, I do have an agenda, and now I have to do A, B, C, D, E. And you just created all of that. So you can ask your place to find itself a beautiful new tenants or owners. Bam, one thing is done. Where, I don't know if you have space for the spa, if you have space for the healing center, if you already have it. If not, like, where is the place? Where do we need to go? Where am I required to be? You can ask, what will be a contribution to me? And also, like, we sometimes have these big asks in life. And I started asking, like, when I ask, like, let's say, what would it take to receive $100,000 in a week? Let's say, one question, one random example. And then I ask, okay, am I willing to receive that? Oh, no. And I play always with percentages, or like, how much am I willing to receive from what I'm asking? And sometimes it's like 2%, sometimes it's 5%. So play with like your willingness to receive, because asking questions is one thing. And we'll all learn to ask questions. If we did, access for even 1 day, you will start asking questions. But we very often are not willing to receive that, because there is some crazy point of view that we don't deserve it, or like it would be too easy, or you do have to work hard for all of that. So when I started looking at that, I was like, in the nature, I was like, okay, how much I'm receiving from the nature right now? And I love the nature. I was the only one, like this big land. And I was like, 20%. I was like, oh my God, I'm receiving 20% from something that's like the easiest thing to receive. So how much do I receive from like bunch of people, somewhere where I go, in the store? They were all annoying to me because they're like, in their heads. So I was like, oh, I have some work to do here. Okay, what would it be like if I received 30%, 40%? And I started making myself like raise all of the receiving, lower my barriers, and it got really intense and almost uncomfortable. So how much are we not receiving because it gets too intense, too much, too strong, too whatever it is, right? So what if we just lower our barriers and receive? Even it's not going to kill you, most likely.
No.
Receiving does not kill usually, guys. Just a side note, okay?
I'm ready for it all.
Especially receiving kindness and receiving acknowledgement does not kill you. We don't need to put up all the barriers and walls to that. We can receive from anyone. Like, how much can you receive from a flower?
Yeah.
So how much can you receive from a child? How much can you receive from old grumpy man somewhere in the store who is complaining in the line behind you? Like, how much can you receive? So it's all for me about receiving. You can have a plan, but you will never create much with that if you are not willing actually to receive this beautiful plan coming to fruition, this beautiful, vision that you have manifesting in physical world. Okay. Does it help?
Yeah, that really helps. You know what? Like Randy says, it kind of just takes you back down and you
to the basics. Like, I'm not saying, guys, I'm not talking like high science, rocket science here. We're all going back to the basics.
Yeah, I love it. No, thank you, Yvonne. That was really a great question too, because it's so many of us have plans, right? Have dreams, have visions, have like this is what I want to create. But then it's the second piece of how much are you really willing to receive? It's like, and then looking at the percentages of, okay, how much am I really willing to receive, and asking those. And it's like, and then, if you find out you're only 5%, it's like, okay, what would it take for me to receive 10%, 20%, and more and more and more, right?
Yeah. You just make yourself receive.
Instead of just going big all at once, you just kind of.
Yeah, it usually does not work for people. Or they ride this big wave and they're all enthusiastic and then they crash. So just be aware of everything at every step. And if you want to run and create really fast and really big and really dynamic, go for it. But if it gets uncomfortable, maybe you can slow down, give yourself some space, ask more questions. What is it? Why am I being uncomfortable? Why is it, suddenly difficult? What is it? Did it go too easy? Did it go too fast? Did it go too intense? Was it too much fun for me? And actually work should not be too much fun. Like, we have this little crazy points of views that we bought very often from parents or this reality that still run us somewhere. Okay. There is one question that I really, really would like to address. And Yvonne, are we good? I know we don't have much time, so I'm trying to rush. I'm sorry, I'm speaking so fast. I just want to deliver as much as I can. But there's this really good question from Adriana, and she sent it to me privately that sometimes we do ask like the entities or angels or different beings for help, and then we give them power. And this is very, very common, and I see it a lot that people do. So what occurs when you ask someone or something for help? Are you coming from a place of being powerful and you can do it, or making them more powerful and more capable than you? Like, where is it that you judge you, that you're not capable of everything you could be choosing? Okay. So when we ask these entities and beings for help, we sometimes invite the entities or beings that will try to dominate us or control us or manipulate us. And this is where you can invite some not so yummy energies. So what I do, I always ask for contribution, and I never ask them for help. So it's more like you make them equal to you. So it's literally like when you ask someone you have to carry something heavy, and you ask them to assist you in carrying it. You didn't make them greater than you, more powerful than you, stronger than you. Just like, hey, it's easier to carry it together than just be by myself. But this is what often occur. We ask them for help, and then we make them greater, bigger, more powerful, which is a big no-no if you want to not be a victim and if you don't want to be a effect of those guys. So yeah, and they're like energies, they're not so yummy. They're kind of dark, but if you make them like you like positive energies, but you resist negative energies, this is where this empowerment comes in, and this is where you can get affected by them. But if you see that this negative or dark energies are just dark of negative energies, there's just different spectrum, different side of the same thing. Is just energy that maybe is not the yummiest vibration for you right now. Or maybe you loved those vibrations 500 lifetimes ago, right? They were like your babies, all those energies. Like, we don't know. So like judging it doesn't really do much. And it's better to just stay aware with it, present with it, and see what works. But don't give them power ever, even if they seem so powerful. Nothing is more powerful than you unless you make them more powerful than you. Remember this, guys. This is like, hopefully, the words we will always remember. You're the only one who can give something or someone power over you.
Mm-hmm.
The only one.
Oh, absolutely. And, me growing up, I used to make, everybody else greater than me, right? It was just, that's the way it was. And it's like, okay. And then as I started doing my healing journey, my spiritual journey and all that wonderful stuff, I realized, and I was told even, it's like, they're not greater than you. They're equal to you. They're your support team, right? But no one is greater than you. So
yes,
that's what I was sharing. Oh, someone is.
Yeah, there's a little echo. Yeah.
Someone wants to talk. Hello. No. Okay.
It disappeared. Yeah.
And so that was a realization or aha for me. It's like, oh, yeah. I'm not less than. They are not greater than. We are equal, and we are all co-creating. And so, like, yes, I'm asking them for assistance or contributions, but I'm also assisting them at the same time. I'm contributing to them. So when I did my group calls and whatever, I always include them, the support team, right? Yes. And sending them contributions at the same time. So it's not just, I don't know. It's just like once I had that aha, it's like, whew, the pressure is off, and it's like I can create my life the way that I choose and desire, and they're here to assist and to contribute to me for what I want. So it's like I'm the leader of my life, and there's nothing and nobody greater than me. We're all equal, Yeah,
exactly. Thank you so much. You couldn't have said it in a better way. Yes. And if we get it, nothing is, even the most powerful, beautiful beings of light, they're wonderful and beautiful, and they're not more powerful than you. Yeah. And I sometimes ask, like, whoever is more conscious than me right now, like, can you contribute to me? So
yeah. Whoever's more conscious than me, can you please contribute to me? Absolutely. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I love that.
Currently is choosing.
There are some beings who are more conscious than me, so.
Yeah, and it's more like currently choosing to be more conscious than me if I go into some, crazy situation or something. And I do it less and less. Like, it's more like, hey guys, you want to play? What can we create together?
And now together.
Yes, it's more like we now than me or I. It's like we, always we. I always include those energies in the creation. And this is when my life really started changing, when I started including all these energies and stop separating myself from certain energies. It's just like we're all like one ocean. The drops in the ocean never separate from each other, one another. They just ocean. Exactly. And they drops. Yeah.
Exactly. No, it's like this has been such a wonderful introduction to this topic, right?
Introduction. It was not an introduction level, but let's call it an introduction.
Introduction. That way we can have more conversations like this that build on this. But no, this was so much fun and so much, not just information, but clearings and energies and so on. So I'm going to invite all of you to please go back and watch the video again for this, because this was awesome. It was amazing. And it was like, even I have to go back, and it's like, because, let's face it, Gosia does like to talk a lot. And it's amazing because the amount of stuff she gave us was like, wow, right?
Thank you.
There was no judgment there. It was more of a acknowledgement of your capacity.
Thank you. Just let's go, guys. Let's do it. If you checked out along the way or your computer crashed, it's energies, it's entities. Somebody asked about it. Yes. Next time you can ask them to step back. So if the entities are bothering you or like really pressing on you, they really just trying to get your attention, and you might be experiencing now, like a lot of them just came in like it's more like a celebration or like trying to get your attention because you've more opened up. So just say, hi guys, step back. I know you here. Literally, it's like kids piling up on you, trying to get your attention. What would you do? Like let them to cover you up, or like, okay, I can, well, relax, one by one, guys, line up. It's more like this. Yeah. And I couldn't get into, that's more like a class thing, like do more of conversation and stuff. But acknowledge them always. You want to be acknowledged too. You don't want to be ignored. So acknowledge them, hi, and you can say, I don't know what to do with you. Go somewhere else. Go to Gosia. Send them to me. All right.
Exactly. Or you know what? Give me some money, and I will clear you. So yeah, I'll figure out how to do it.
Exactly. If you know how, go ahead and clear them. Sometimes you say, do you know if you don't have a body, it's the greatest clearing, and they'll go, oh, and they disappear. You know, it doesn't have to be anything elaborate or advanced. And just be aware. So if something is touching you, something is touching you. If something is like you feel a presence in your room, there is a presence in your room. Like acknowledge what you already know that you have been trying to ignore, or like, I think I'm imagining things. I'm just being scared. No, you're not. You're just being aware. So once you acknowledge hi, or you can say, this is my room, this is my house, get out. You can do that too. You wouldn't let like homeless people in your house, right? They're like, yeah, come in, make yourself at home. No, like, no, thank you. So do the same, like treat those guys just like you would treat a person, you know, or do you want them to bother you at midnight? No, come back tomorrow. Not now. It's night. I'm right. So
and
like,
don't you have office hours for entities?
Absolutely. If you know what to do with them, you can establish office hours. My office open from 9 to 9:30, or you want to make it 1 hour, 10 minutes, however you want to do it. Absolutely. And they will come, and remember that you set up office hours with them, because they will come.
I love that. It's like they're just like real people. They're people without bodies, you know?
Yes, there are people without bodies, literally. And sometimes people do it for years, and they're like, I think I really am clearing entities. Like, yes, you do.
You know, I was told a long time ago that that is something that somebody saw me doing, like that's a gift and capacity that I have to clear. And well, they didn't use the word clear entities, you know, but you know, send people on their way. Kind of thing. It's like, and I was like, really? No, I don't know. That sounds scary. It's like, I don't want to, because you watch stupid shows on TV, and they, right? And
actually, it's the most rewarding, fun thing for me. I never thought I will do this work, guys. I never suspected. I thought I was working with bodies, which I do, for like empowerment, women, whatever. I do all of it, but entities are the most fun for me for some strange reason. They are, and it creates such change, not only for people with bodies, but people without bodies. And I travel, as I said, I do these classes. I go anywhere where anybody invites me and is capable of, like, you know, getting some people together. For me, I will go anywhere in the world to facilitate that. So if you want to have me somewhere, I come.
Wonderful. So, you know, if you guys all want Gosia to come and do a class with you, you know, contact her directly, or contact me and I'll contact her, and, you know, whatever, you know, and we'll make it happen, because I think this is something that it's still not that common. It's still a need. It's still a necessity for people.
It is. And you know what I've seen? I've been doing it for a few years now, being talked to the entities facilitators, but now there's something that's occurring. What I've noticed, that people are really willing to step up and clear all these entities and energies that have been running their life.
Yeah.
And we have such huge interest in those classes. It's very different. Before it was like pulling teeth to get anyone in this class. You know, one whisper in the ear was like, don't go, it's not good for you. And they wouldn't go, you know, and I was like, hey, this is entities trying to stop you because you kick them out, or demons or whatever. And people get it, and it takes courage to make it to this class and know it. And I always acknowledge the people for being so courageous that they actually chose it. It's not an easy class to choose, but what it creates, it's absolutely, you know, out of this world. So I definitely want
to do it. I definitely want to do it. So come to Vienna, you know, or come to Vienna.
I'll be in the summer all summer in Europe, and I'm booking now. I have only to open in the summer and fall, because I'm booked already for the classes, but I have a few more dates next year. Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll check our calendars to see if I'm here in Europe at the summer. I don't know yet. No, but this is amazing. Thank you. And thank you, everybody, for your questions and for being willing and vulnerable to talk about this and be able to receive this information. You know, I think it's brilliant. And it's, you know, somebody was asking about addictions, you know, and our entities.
Huge subject.
Huge. So I said yes to them, but I think there's more, you know, to that topic than just that. But, you know, it's huge. And so why not get some more clarity, right? Why not get some clarity for yourself and book that 20-minute session with Gosia and go from there and see what happens, you know, with no projections, no expectations, no judgment, no blah, blah, blah. just have fun with it.
And you notice I go fast. We can do a lot in 20 minutes. All right.
I was going to say that, but then I thought I would let you say that.
We can do a lot in just 20 minutes.
Absolutely. So thank you, everyone. Keep an eye out for the email. It's going to go out a little bit later today. And then go to the gifts page and, contact Gosia and book your session. Okay. So thank you, everyone. We're going to be back again tomorrow. We have a call again tomorrow and then on Wednesday, and busy week. So thank you, Gosia, so much. I just loved it. Thank you.
Gosh, thank you, Laura, so much for even considering me. Thank you. I'm so grateful, and everyone who was here live and in the future. Take care, guys.
All of you in the future who are watching, yay! What a wonderful call. All right, thank you, everyone. Have a great afternoon, evening, and until next time, continue to live your life filled with joy, peace, love, abundance, and happiness. Sending you all much love and blessings always. Bye for now.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone. I'm going to unmute you. You can all say bye if you want.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
So cool.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Ciao.